Whatever you think about Donald Trump, we now know that Russiagate was a lie in which the mainstream media, the Democratic Party, and the FBI collaborated. What's happening to our democracy? Russiagate was a hoax. It was not true. Personally signed off by Hillary Clinton to discredit Trump and undermine Trump's presidency. Furthermore, we know that the FBI were involved in the Hunter Biden laptop story repression. Therefore, the FBI and the CIA, for numerous reasons that we talk about continually on our channel, are the very kind of institutions that need radical change, if not disbanding altogether. If the deep state and big tech regularly collaborate, what power does ordinary democracy have, particularly when ordinary democracy is owned by the donor class, the billionaire class, and cannot be reached or meaningfully utilized by we, the people? Let's see how CNN handle this climb down, because they really lent into the whole Russiagate thing. They loved it. It essentially was wishful thinking. They don't like Trump, and you may argue there are reasons not to love Trump. Let me know in the comments in the chat what you think about Trump. They, though, don't like him. Even though they'll have him on for a TV show if they think it will drive ratings, they push that Russiagate thing hard. How are they going to handle the cast iron truth that it was a lie?
The years-long investigation is over, and John Durham, the special counsel investigating whether there was any misconduct by the FBI in the Trump-Russia investigation, just released his findings. For years, as you may recall, Donald Trump and his supporters pinned their hopes on the investigation. The report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald Trump.
Jake Tapper is trying to almost verbally dilute the impact while conveying the information. Imagine the rhetorical flourish, vim, and priapic glee that might undergird a condemnation of Trump. How they would lean into that, the nostrils flaring, the eyes widening. You might not like Trump for a whole load of reasons. Pretty easy to list reasons to dislike Donald Trump. But what I would say is, let's look at the system itself and how it's behaving. What type of change is necessary? On our show, we spoke to RFK. He was saying he'd disband the CIA. Now, admittedly, here we're talking about the FBI, but it seems that both of these agencies that span administrations are untethered, corrupt organizations that are clearly pursuing their own agenda. Let me know what you think in the chat and the comments. Essentially, what I'm saying to you is it doesn't matter which political party is in office, although plainly it matters to the FBI somewhat. You will end up with a corrupt system unless we bind together in new ways to demand meaningful change.
Well, Jake, the bottom line finding from John Durham's 4-year investigation is that the FBI moved very quickly to investigate these allegations of connections, of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, and that they did so by ignoring a lot of evidence that would have led them to drop that altogether.
So it wasn't a neutral investigation, it was an attempt to smear and discredit. So we can see how the media behaves. It already has the objective. The objective is to discredit and attack this individual, in this case, Donald Trump. Now, how do we do that? So you see the level of bias. An untrue story was propagated for years. Like, even someone like me, who ultimately doesn't trust the media, don't have any alliance with either political party, think that the kind of changes that we need are pretty damn radical, I still just kind of absorbed the idea, well, it must be true on some level. I've just heard so many times Trump's colluding with Russia, someone peed on him, all this stuff. It's just not true. How can we maintain our credulity? How can we continue to just trust them? Oh, is this what's happening now? Is this what you want us to believe this week? Essentially, once Trump was elected, the Democratic Party establishment couldn't accept it. So they just had to find ways, instead of like what should have happened in the first place is, oh my God, is it true that we can't reach ordinary people in significant numbers now because we're totally out of touch? Instead of having that reckoning, they went, well, perhaps Russia must have done something. Well, let's just say Russia did, even if there's no evidence. Wouldn't it be good if they did? Wouldn't that be good? Let's pursue it. Let's try to piece it together. Let's ignore evidence to the contrary. Donald Trump rejected the results of the 2020 election. The Democratic Party rejected essentially the results of the 2016 election. They wanted to say it was the result of foreign meddling and intervention. Will there ever be another election where the losing side, or the side that gets the least votes, depending on what skullduggery is deployed, go, oh well, fair enough, good luck running the country, guys, in collusion with the FBI and your affiliates in media. None of us really care about ordinary people, just the maintenance of our relationship with billionaire class, elite institutions, globalist agenda. We, through independent media and new means of communication, which, by the way, they are continually trying to shut down, new censorship, new surveillance, new militarization of the police force, new anti-protest laws, are the only alternative to slight variations of this system depending on your own cultural and political biases. Those, therefore, have to be put aside in order to address systemic corruption, or you're just going to get a preferable version, depending on your biases, of this bullshit.
He's saying that they may have had reason to open a preliminary investigation, an assessment. Perhaps these are very, very low-level investigations. But certainly what he finds is that there wasn't enough there to support the FBI's decision to open a full-blown investigation of this of the Trump-Russia ties back in 2016.
So in 2016, they could have said, look, there's nothing here. The Steele dossier was funded by the Democratic Party, personally signed off by Hillary Clinton. How can we support them? How can they present themselves? Have a little look at Biden's campaign video again and look at the timbre and the tone, and then recognize that the institution that he is talking about, the Democratic Party in that instance, are the ones that are responsible, along with the FBI and the media, for creating this set of lies. And they may say, oh, we've dealt with it already, we've changed our policy since then, but we remember the Hunter Biden laptop story. In my personal opinion, the Republican Party are no better. In my personal opinion, the problems are so deep that nothing less than meaningful systemic change will make any difference at all. Decentralized power wherever possible, maximum amount of individual freedom, maximum access to independent media, an end to attempts to censor, surveil, control, smear individuals that are involved in telling the truth, and new actual community democracy.
He says that it seems highly likely that at a minimum, confirmation bias played a significant role in the FBI's acceptance of extraordinarily serious allegations derived from uncorroborated information.
I don't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump shouldn't be president. Well, maybe the Russians helped him become president. Maybe there was collusion with Russians. Is there any evidence for that? No. But maybe they did that. I mean, that would make more sense. Well, that would make sense if it was true. But even if it's not true, what if we said it anyway? Even if it's not true? Yeah, say it anyway. Do you remember how many times you heard about that in late night talk shows, on the news? It was just everywhere, all of the time. Just wasn't true. Now, to depoliticize this, God, if such a thing were possible, think about the pandemic. How many things were you told were true? And then, oh, they're not true. And then that's just brushed away. Oh, don't worry about that. Yeah, that wasn't true. Oh, that wasn't true. Oh, that wasn't true. I'm starting to think barely any of it is true.
That had not been subjected to the typical exacting analysis that the FBI usually uses.
Before we investigate this Russiagate thing, shall we apply our typical exacting analysis? No, let's use atypical and vague analysis. Oh yeah, it looks like it might be true. All right, off you go.
He goes on to say that the FBI discounted or willfully ignored material information that did not support the narrative.
Well, look, here's some information that is not true. I'm going to discount that. That's willfully ignored. They used their will to ignore it. You couldn't ignore it unless you engaged the will. Oh my God, I can't ignore that. You've put it right in my face. Hold on a minute. Nice and ignored. Oh shit, I done a fart. I think I popped a hemorrhoid out.
Based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane, that's the investigation into Trump and Russia, and related intelligence activities, we conclude that the Justice Department and FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fidelity to the law.
That's like just don't break the law. You know you shouldn't break the law, right? Yeah, I suppose we shouldn't. And we mean that strictly. Okay, yeah, I can see you mean it. Have you been breaking the law? Yeah, quite a lot, actually. We've been lying. It's basically all we do.
He's saying that this was unprofessional and failed to meet the standards of the Justice Department and the FBI.
There you go. Jake Tapper's having to accept it. We're all going to have to accept it. The FBI, the mainstream media, and Democratic Party colluded in creating a lie to discredit Donald Trump. Let me pause this for just a brief moment. How do you think we fund this stuff? Do you think these dressing gowns grow on trees? They don't. They're costly. That's why we need sponsorship to keep me in bizarre kimonos. And here's another version of me doing a commercial to do just that. I'm going to make it funny, don't worry. Sorry to interrupt your viewing of that handsome young man in his latest erudite breakdown of an incredibly important subject, but I've got to remind you, did you know, Father's Day is coming up. So what better gift for him than one of these Ridge wallets? Like many men, he may struggle to express his emotions, but deep down he'll be eternally grateful because he can ditch his horrible, stinking, wretched, leathery wife. No, I meant wallet. He's had it for too long, hasn't he? There's room for 12 cards in this little wallet, and they come in over 30 colours, including classic dad-friendly colours like burnt titanium and forged ember. I can almost smell my own dad. Dad, have you been drinking? This wallet even comes with RFID blocking material, so even if he has no idea what a digital pickpocket is, he'll be completely protected. And if you really want to be the golden child, why not get him one of these Ridge key cases as well and stop him jangling around like a crazy old janitor or like Marley and Marley from Dickens? To save 40% on these amazing gifts until June the 15th, just use my link. Can I borrow your link? Of course you bloody well can. Ridge.com/Russell. Help your father enter the future. Let's go back to other version of me now, telling you how to, break down social systems and stuff. The FBI was instrumental in perpetuating the Russia hoax. The Bureau never had any plausible evidence or verified intelligence when it wrongfully launched the dilating and damaging investigation of Donald Trump. Okay, so first of all, we're going to need plausible evidence and verified intelligence. Do you have either of those? No! What do you have? I got a hunch, some prejudices, and a bunch of money from the Clinton campaign. That'll do. Nothing was vetted or corroborated. Now, have you vetted this and corroborated it? No. Well, what have you got instead? Just a bunch of money from the Clinton campaign. Oh yeah, that'll do. Indeed, the FBI knew it was a pernicious lie from the outset. Listen, before we set out to do this, I'm worried it could be a pernicious lie. I know. Oh, no point in using the hand anymore if we're just doing this. Yeah, that's right. The FBI discovered almost immediately in the summer of 2016 that the claims of Trump-Russia collusion had been manufactured by Hillary Clinton and her Confederates. Look at this! It looks like Russia and Trump have been colluding. No, wait. This has been constructed by Hillary Clinton and her Confederates. Yeah, I know, but should we carry on for ages and ages more, still investigating this, making stuff worse? Yeah, let's do that then. The mainstream media, riven with bias, became witting accessories to the lie and effectively convicted Trump in the court of public opinion without a whiff of supportable evidence. Wouldn't it be a lot easier for the liberal left establishment to condemn Donald Trump if stuff like this didn't keep happening? If you keep doing this, the side you're on are not the goodies. Are they? I'm not even a pro-Trump Donald person. I know loads of you are. I think we need to change the systems themselves. But what I agree with you on 100% is that the other lot are totally corrupt. The New York Times and the Washington Post even won coveted Pulitzer Prizes for getting the story fundamentally wrong. The Pulitzer Prize now has become some sort of ironic award where the people who got it and deserved it for investigating and revealing true and difficult facts that negatively impact the powerful are regarded as conspiracy theorists, and people that get it for propping up the state, no one ever questions it or thinks about taking it back. I'm keeping that. That's my award for lying to keep you bastards in power. Yeah, actually, have another one. Have 20. They don't mean fuck all. Durham confirms previously known evidence of how the FBI debunked the dossier that Clinton's campaign and the Democrats secretly bankrolled. We were nothing to do with that dossier. Didn't you bankroll it? Yes. Did you keep that secret? Yes. But you weren't involved. No. Instead of exposing the truth, they exploited the collusion canard as a pretense to prevent Trump from being elected. Canard means gossip and rumor. When that plan failed, the FBI doubled down and sought to portray him as an illegitimate president by accelerating its probe and leaking deceptions to the gullible media that happily accepted them as gospel. Happened again with the Hunter Biden laptop. Their own biases are the platform upon which convenient lies can be placed. In 4 successive warrant applications, the FBI lied to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISC. They represented that the dossier was credible when it knew the document was not. Durham's report shines a bright light on the dual system of justice that has infected the FBI and Justice Department for far too long. The Bureau never opened an investigation of Hillary Clinton when it learned that her campaign was peddling lies to the government in order to influence the 2016 election. Hillary Clinton personally approved her campaign's plan in fall 2016 to share information with a reporter about an uncorroborated alleged server back channel between Donald Trump and a top Russian bank. Her former campaign manager testified in federal court. Again, just in case a stupid person is watching this or a journalist with an agenda, I'm not saying that Trump is the answer. I'm not saying that Trump is good. I'm not saying anything actually about Donald Trump. What I'm saying is the reason Donald Trump has so much credibility is because the institutions of the center-left neoliberal establishment have themselves become so corrupt, so alienated, so disconnected from ordinary people, so full of hubris, pomp, and a great love of the stink of their own farts, that someone like Donald Trump actually, in many ways through his rhetoric, provides relief. In the wake of the Durham report, the FBI responded by claiming that he has already implemented corrective actions to prevent such an abuse from ever happening again. I'm so glad you brought up this corruption we've been doing, because even before, actually, I'd already decided to stop doing corruption. What about the Hunter Biden laptop? Oh, no, yeah. Now, though, we're one day at a time doing no corruption at all. Are you lying right now? If I say no, are you going to ask John Durham to investigate me? We are, yeah. Then yes. That is a self-serving statement belied by recent evidence that the FBI tampered with the more recent presidential election by pressuring social media companies into censoring and suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story. So when people say, oh no, Elon Musk owns Twitter, we hate that because, you know, racism and stuff. Do you think it's the racism and stuff that they really care about? Or that the FBI were enjoying being able to influence and control Twitter through the previous management structure? Let me know in the chat in the comments. Moreover, whistleblowers allege that both the Bureau and the DOJ are running a protection racket to cover up Biden family influence peddling schemes. Difficult not to consider that that might be true based on what we're learning now, isn't it? There is sufficient evidence to believe that those in power are still determined to subvert our system of justice and undermine the democratic process. John Durham has managed to remind us that trust in government has been squandered. In order to earn trust, we are going to have to individually and collectively behave in ways that are trustworthy. Our institutions of justice and democracy and investigations and even, if possible, of espionage are going to have to become transparent and accountable. We're not talking about fallible individuals here, although I suppose on the most basic level we are. We're talking about institutional corruption. We're talking about staged lies maintained for 4 years, all underwritten by something that's completely and utterly untrue. So whatever reservations or disdain or dislike you have for your political opponent, or, you know, let's say Donald Trump, if you oppose and loathe Donald Trump, and let me tell you once more, I don't think Donald Trump is the answer to your problems. I do not think that at all. You have to look at the context that this is emerging from. Otherwise, you will not be able to solve the problem. It will perpetuate, it will continue, people will become more divided, people will become more fractured. We have to have in our hearts a willingness to go, do you know what, our side ain't been great here. Looking at this, we got no right to be condemning anybody. We've been lying, the media have been backing up lies, the FBI is corrupt. Let's try and start again in good faith. Perhaps start again with the candidacy of Marianne Williamson and RFK by allowing them to have debates, by not censoring them on social media, by allowing people to speak freely about ideas that are antithetical to the interests of the powerful. Or maybe another idea, create a censorship industrial complex where any view you don't like is shut down, anyone who opposes you is smeared, where there's constant attempts to shut down the conversation about how out of control power has become and how alienated and disgusted with it most of us are by now. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Remember, turn on the notification bell. The algorithm wants you watching this stuff. The algorithm is part of the problem. It's only by subscribing and turning on the notifications that we can keep in communication with you, and we need you. We're on Rumble every single day doing an hour-long version of this. It's light, funny, there are fantastic guests. You will love it. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either of these, but more important than any of that stuff, please stay free.